now. So got you. So again, I'm Lance Pitts, and executive director of NPBA. I got special guest, multi-facet, talented Mr. Michael Hill. Got his new book, Open Mic. It's memoir, and we kind of talk about a little bit of everything in this. I get a chance to learn a lot about you, outside of being one of my favorite broadcasters, as it relates to sports and even with you going into the entertainment sector as well. Um, how do we get here? We always talk about the destination with everything, Mike, but the journey to relive some of this stuff and to actually put it from mind, memory, pen to paper. How do we get here?
Thanks for having me on first and foremost, Lance. It's a good question. And the way I say it is because I had to get there. If I hadn't gotten there, if I had not written that book, had I not written that book at that particular time, I would not be here presently. I really believe that I would have died in some form or fashion. I really mean that, whether it would have been stroked out, could have had some kind of health issues. I may have even taken my own life. I was full of trauma. I was full of a lot of pain, hurt, sadness, a lot of things that I've gone through in my past life that I wrote about in the book that was having an effect on me at that particular time when I was writing the book. So when I first started writing the book, that pain and that trauma, all of it started coming out, and I realized I needed to write that book because I had to unpack a lot of the things that I had suppressed for so many years. I was putting on this facade like I was happy, like I was the happiest I'd ever been in my life, professionally and personally, but on the inside, I had a lot of demons that I had never dealt with, that a lot of Black men, or a lot of men, period, a lot of people, period, just don't deal with because it's too painful, too hurtful, or they just don't even realize it's still there.
That's real, man. That's very courageous of you to do that, because it's easy for us to wear that mask daily and to live in our own, thoughts 24/7.
Mhm.
I got a chance to get my book. I was like, yo, I was excited when it came in the mail, got to reading it. And I always want to tell everybody, I said, let's go in the beginning a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, 2109 and 2111 Barclay Avenue. What does that mean to you?
Oh, that's my man. That means that's what raised me. I was born in the Bronx, but man, my home is Bessemer, Alabama, as they say down there, Belma. Because they don't enunciate Belma, Alabama, man. That's it did a lot for me, a lot of good, a lot bad, but it also made me realize that there was so much more that I had to go. Too many things that I wanted to accomplish that wasn't there in Bessemer, man. But so much went on in that home that I wrote about in the book, that on the outside looking in, if you see that house and it's no longer there, but at that time you saw that house, it was, even though we lived in a poor neighborhood, it was one of the best looking houses on the street because my mom made it that way. But what was happening on the inside was a lot of torture, was a lot of pain, was a lot of sorrow, a lot of heartache, no love. My mom tried to give as much as she possibly could. My stepdad wanted to or tried to, but he just didn't know how to. I'll just put it that way. And the reason I say that is because even though he was an abuser, he, will beat my mom or whatever, even though he was an alcoholic, he had pain of his own. And I wasn't able to realize that until I had to go through what I went through as an adult to understand that, he never dealt with his traumas, like I'm dealing with mine. So unfortunately for him, it led to a lot of, once again, abuse, pain, torture for himself that he inflicted on other people, and even had an effect on my mom and myself, my upbringing or whatever. And, the last 9 years of his life, he spent in jail for murder for hire.
Yeah, I remember just reading that and just kind of talking about some of the, the stuff you've seen at an early child age in a household, right? And first thing I thought about was, with Mike being so young, seeing this, making sure that as he fosters relationships with women as he got older, that he didn't, project that on the women. But also with that, who would you talk to at a young age seeing that? Or was that just the norm? Like, hey, this is what it is.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's the way it was. Nobody had anybody to talk to. You just thought that was the way you were supposed to treat women. I'm so many, especially down south at that time, so much abuse that was going on. It wasn't like my household was the only one that my friend's mom wasn't being beaten by their dads or their boyfriends or whatever, or going through some kind of abuse in one form or fashion. Because, we heard about it. People tried to cover it up. They didn't talk about it as much as they do now, because if something like that goes on now, then of course people get canceled or you lose your job. It's so much. And I'm happy that we've come and made those strides, but you got to understand, back in the late 70s and early 80s, it wasn't really like that down south. So I didn't know how to talk to a girl. I didn't know how to treat a woman. I didn't know how to, to be in love with anybody, because I didn't know how to be in love with myself. And then plus I didn't see it in my household. There was only one time that I saw something that was similar to love. And that was one time there was a commercial that came on. I remember this very vividly. There was a commercial that came on. It was from the Latter-day Saints, Church of Jesus Christ and Latter-day Saints, one of those commercials that come on. And it was something that's like, have you told your kids you love them today? It was like that. And I was in the other room and I just heard my stepdad. He was in there with my mom. I guess maybe she prodded him to say something, but he called me. He's like, Michael, come here. I'm like, okay, I want to come in there. It's like, give me a hug. I love you.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And that was it, man. And so that time, and one time my mom was about to leave him after, a night of abuse, and we was about to leave, and I was young as well. That's that. And that other time, the only two times when I was a child that I remember him telling me he loved me without it being something that was kind of put together. Me saying I love him first or something like that. It's the only time like that he would just like unprompted tell me that he loved me, or even show any kind of love to my mom.
Oh, okay. Okay, it's understandable. I know earlier in that chapter, we was talking about, I was talking with a friend of mine about this, and we, as African Americans, our first experience with racism. And you was talking about Miss Betty's grandniece.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, Mike experienced it that early. I'm like, I didn't get it until I got to college, but I remember you reading about that. I'm just like, wow, that's.
I didn't even see what was crazy is I didn't realize at the time that it was even racism. I'm a kid, man. I had no idea. Like, when I'm cut and I'm looking, the little girl says, "Oh, that's black blood," and I'm like, "No, it's red, just like everybody else." I'm young, like, and but when you get older and you remember and you recall some of these stories, I'm like, that little girl was racist. That was a racist statement that she made. But because of the way I had grown up and I wasn't exposed to that in a sense at that time, I didn't know, because my mom didn't teach me things like that. My mom didn't teach me to treat white people differently than black people, whatever. I know my mom has experienced racism in her life, and she's seen that. I remember even colorism. We experienced probably more colorism when I was living down south than I experienced racism at that particular time. Because mom was a very fair complexion woman with freckles, and they used to call her white woman. Hey, white woman. I remember this one man in particular named Johnny used to come over and saying like, "Oh, Richie, you married to that white woman, married to," and it's kind of a joke around the house or whatever. But me being a fair complexion, light skin, one of the fights I got into was with a guy named Stanley. I still remember. He used to just talk about the white boy, and that's the first time I punched somebody. Was y'all called me a white boy. And I remember punching him and hit him square on the face, man, and he fell down. And I remember all his brothers wanted to jump on me after school, man. But yeah, so you go through things that you don't even realize you're going through at that time until you get a little bit older.
Oh, that's great. That's amazing, man. And I was the same way where, for me, Mike, I went to I'm in Milwaukee, public school, maybe all 4 or 5 white kids. I go to college. All the black people play basketball. Yeah. And it was just a shock. I'm just like, I ain't used to this. So just seeing that, I understand that part too. You just read that. So I tapped into that. One thing I told everybody is like, yo, this book is it's forthcoming, but also a lot of funny things I find in there too, that I can just see the voices with what's going on. And to success of your career, even in the beginning, Antoinette, and Max, they both played a vital role in the beginning and even to where you're at now. Talk about how important those were as your guardian angels. About.
Man. So Ned Stenhouse is still my angel to this day. I remember when I wanted to be on television and wanted to get an internship. I'm going to school and I'm looking around, and they're telling me how important internships are, and I'm calling all these different TV stations, and either not getting any kind of response, or nobody's really trying to help me in any form of fashion. So I finally reached this lady at Channel 11 in Baltimore, Ned Stenhouse. She answered the phone. I'm talking to her about the internship program. And she says, well, you have to be in this certain type of grade. I was in the Air Force at the time. You have to be in this type of program in order to go have an internship here. But why don't you try Fox 45? They are a little bit more liberal. They're not a union station, blah, blah, blah. And she gave me information for that. And she said, but stay in touch with me, because anything you need, brother, I'm gonna help you out. So, I will stay in touch with her. And I remember my first TV appearance was because of her. I don't know if you remember Kwasi Mfume. He was the head of NAACP, I believe, one time. He had a TV show in Baltimore, a talk show, and they brought me on to kind of help out with a segment or whatever. So that was my first ever TV appearance, was in the local station in Baltimore, and that was because of Annette. But I called Fox 45 to, as she told me, and I got in touch with this guy named Max Morgan in Italian. He sounded like this black guy, but he sounded like this. And he's like, hey, yeah, Mike, we got an internship program. Why don't you come on down here? We got this thing called Sports Unlimited. I can introduce you to Bruce Cunningham. Like, he just sounded like the most country white black dude I've ever heard in my life, right? And brought me in. And Max, he just passed away a couple of years ago, man. But Max was, once again, another guardian angel that brought me in, took me in, gave me that internship at Fox 45, and along with Bruce Cunningham and Alex Parker and a lot of all those people there at Fox 45 is a big reason why I was able to kind of get my broadcasting career started.
Yeah, but also, Mike, that's the part you didn't leave out. You talk about in the book, but why did you show up on your intern the first day fully dressed like you about to go on the air, man?
Because, bro, I was ready. I'm telling you, because I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? When you don't understand, but I had on a suit, and they're like, "What you think you about to be on the air? You think you about to show?" Yeah. But here's the thing, and this is the lesson that's learned: you would rather them tell you to bring it down than not give them. You know what I mean? You would much rather do more that's asked of you than have them to ask of you to do more, man. So that's me taking the initiative, man. I had my briefcase in my hand. I had my suit on. I was prepared, because I was told, like, when you show up at a job, you should be prepared to do that job. You know what I mean? Who knows? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I read that. I was like, oh yeah, I can see that right there. You give some good gems that I've kind of added to my things I do in life. Just reading this part, you said that your ego is a powerful tool, and the wrong mind will easily destroy. I was like, well, that's and I had to think about some of my things I've dealt with as it relates to our ego. As as men, we try not to lead with our ego, but let you know that, hey, we are here. So that's very powerful, and I think that's so symbolic of everything that we do. Absolutely. Right? And I was just like, oh, that's big, man, big.
Absolutely.
Another thing that I found outside of you wearing your suit the first day of work, Magic Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. $250 and $70 in tips. Talk to me, my man. Talk to me.
I didn't know I had those skills. I don't think anybody knew I had those skills. And that's another thing. Like, in addition to ego in the mind, alcohol in the mind can make you do some stupid stuff. I just say that way. That was my stripping days, my amateur stripping night that I had. And
amateur night.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna let people read about it in the book, man. But it was like that was one of those nights I'll never forget. I just remember doing it, and looking up as soon as I finished, dancing, and I looked into the crowd and saw the face of my wife's best friend. Yeah, I was married at that time.
Exactly. I'm like, man. Hey, here's the kicker. It ain't so much that hey, let me get out and try to do something, right? It's the fact that your ex-wife at the time being, hey, I was in a dance contest. No big deal. And she was like, I knew someone else. Your ass can't dance.
But I wasn't lying. I told her I was in a dance. I didn't tell her I took my clothes off while I was dancing. There's certain parts that I left out. Now I ain't, and her friend didn't tell her for like 2 weeks after that or whatever. But like that was some of my foolish behavior. And I put all that stuff in there, man, to let people know that, when you're younger, and I think I was about 22, 23 years old at the time. When you're younger, no excuses. You still got to be, pay the consequences, be responsible for your actions. But at the same time, I want people to know that you can look at me now and say, okay, he's got this image or whatever, and he's on television or whatever, he's buttoned up and he's collared and all that, man. I have a past. I have a terrible past that I made a lot of mistakes. I did a lot of things that I'm not proud of, actually kind of a little ashamed of, but that's why I called it open mic, because I wanted to be transparent. And that's one of the reasons why, even on the book cover, man, it's like I'm coming out of my darkness. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm walking into the light. You know what I mean? I got a lot of things in my past in the shadows, man, that bonded me. That's why the ropes are around me or whatever, because I was bonded by that type of stuff. And obviously the microphone constitutes, what I do for a living. That's why my head is bowed a little bit, because I'm not proud of it. I'm a little bit ashamed. I come to you humble, man, because this is what I went through and what I'm trying to get into. And then on the back, that's where you see me, kind of head up. The light is a little bit lighter, but it's still some darkness there, because I'm still walking into my manhood. And I think that's the most important thing for people to know, is that even though I have a past and I've overcome a lot of things in my past, man, there are certain things that I still need to walk through and get better at. And that's why I'm still a huge advocate for mental health therapy, to make sure that I can get past all those things that still haunt me.
Definitely. I have one more thing I want to ask you, Mike, before I transition to that piece right there, especially the mental health as it relates to us as African-American men. I told everybody that on Facebook.
And I lost you.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you. Yep.
Got you. You were talking about there was an issue with your ex-wife and you having a knife to your neck, and you decided to say, yeah, Mike, come on.
Hey,
you went out with a name.
That's right. when I think, and that's how lost I was, and that's how hurt, with the hurt I was going through. I was putting others through so much pain, man, but I had so much darkness and sorrow and hurt inside of me, man, where, that's why I'm openly admitting all that type of stuff, the depression, the thoughts of suicide and all that type of stuff. And at that time I was at my wit's end. I was just sad. Once again, I could put on that facade and put on this big mask and pretend to be happy and make other people happy. And I did that a lot. But deep down inside, what I was going through and what I was feeling at that time, I was hurt too. And so at that time, when she did that after, a verbal altercation that we was going through, her hormones obviously were affecting her. When she did that, I was ready. I mean, I can think back to that time. And even though it was over 20 some years ago, almost 20 some years ago, over 20 years ago, I was ready. I was ready to just say, you know what, if that's the way it's going to end, I'm ready to go, because I'd much rather go. Take me out of my misery, in a sense, pretty much. Just take me out, because I can't deal with this any much longer. I'm sad. I'm hurt. I know I'm making you sad. I'll hurt you or whatever, but I'm also in pain. So at that particular time, that particular moment when she did that, I'm like, just do it. And I was ready to just, meet my demise and meet my maker.
Well, hey, I'm glad you overcame that, man, because you're definitely beloved by everybody, man. So we definitely rock with you and everything.
I ain't gonna say everybody. There's a lot of people that don't, but I know I can't please everybody. As long as I'm pleasing God, man, that's all that matters. And then He can just walk as a vessel through me.
Definitely. When it comes to mental health, and even for me, I'm busy. I'm married just like you. Couple businesses that I run. How does Mike handle with like self-care, and how does that look for you? Because guys like me, I'm busy with, running a nonprofit. There's a sports element, basketball to it. I'm also overseas FIBA agent. Also have a soda company. That's my soda in the back of the Juve. I got to send you some cases to your office.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to that.
I got you. I don't worry about that. After that, I got you on that. But how do you do self-care? Because my wife even gets on me about that. Like, you're always busy. And I'm like, well, I don't like downtime. And if we're not traveling, I don't know what to do. Like a whole course of a day of me doing nothing, I don't know how to handle that. So how does Mike do self-care?
I had to learn it. I had to learn it. I was just like you. And it's still a lot of ways I feel guilty. You know, you feel guilty, right? When you're not doing anything, you feel like you go through the whole thing like, what did I do productive as far as making my business move, making my brand move, whatever. So you feel busy. But what I had to realize is that in order to get better, to make that brand, to make my business even better tomorrow, I got to take care of myself today. And in order for me to do that, even that means going and taking 90 minutes out of my day every other week and getting a 90-minute massage, or just going to the spa day and going and getting your nails and your feet done. I mean, like, men get them nails and the feet done. Like, if you missing out on manicures and pedicures, man, I don't know. Look, I'm 100% man. Ain't nothing wrong with nobody else. But I'm 1,000% man. At the same time, I take care of myself, my skin. I just got a facial last week. I do things like that, man, to make myself better, because part of my body is my brand. Working out, that's part of my brand. When I leave, when I get off this Zoom, I'm going to the gym. I'll be 52 years old this year. I plan on, what I do is, like, I know Father Time is undefeated, but as long as you continue to roll back the hands of time, then Father Time will never catch you. You understand what I'm saying? You know, eventually you're going to die. We all got an end date, but I'm not trying to look like, if I died 90 years old, I'm not trying to look 90 when I die. You know what I mean? I'm trying to look 10, 15 years younger than I actually am. And I want to live that life. So part of that is, like, not just relying and working on work all the time, but working on yourself to take down those stress levels. Last week, I was in Atlanta, and I just purposely just said, I'm not doing anything. I'm just staying in bed. I'm gonna go hang out. If I do something, it's gonna be mindless stuff, hanging out with friends. I'm not taking any meetings. I'm not doing any Zoom. I think this is one of the reasons why we did the Zoom.
Yeah,
this
I appreciate it.
Because I'm like, I'm not doing anything. I just want to take some time off because I need to focus, because I see some big things happening coming up, and I need to be in the right space mentally in order to do it.
No, I got you on that. When it comes to, we all have, deal with stuff from family, from, I don't want to say it's under the umbrella of mental health, but for you, when we seen you on the TV, we turned on, see you on TV every day, right? When I'm at work or I'm doing business stuff, I have a bad day, I have to wear it, even if your wife has a bad day, cameras are rolling. How did Mike handle having a bad day, being live on TV with everybody? Like, how did you handle that? And how did you pick it off? Remember, you're live now. You're not delayed. It's the moment. So how did Mike, what did you do to kind of decompartmentalize things you were dealing with, maybe at home or personal life?
Well, first of all, pray. I just find time and realize that life's not perfect. And also when I pray and when things like that happen, I'm thankful for them, because what can I learn from that? I used to get upset because you are, like you said, being live on television sometimes, and people might be messing up something, a producer, wrong tape runs or something like that, or your microphone's not up. You rely on so many people behind the scenes to make you look good. And that's why I give them the credit. And I want to give them a lot of credit. But when things go bad and it's something that they have done wrong and it affects me, I'm the face, and it makes me look like I'm the person that's doing something wrong, which, good and the bad, I understand that. And I'm not going to throw them under the bus or whatever. But what I do is swallow and realize, like, okay, that happened. There's nothing I can do about it. I can't roll back time like that. I can't go back in the time machine and fix it, right? So it's happened. It's in the atmosphere. God must have intended for it to happen. So, just let it roll with it, and then move on from there, man. But I pray about it, meditate, and just ask God that, what lesson can I learn from this to make me better the next time something like this comes up, so I can prepare for it.
That's dope, man. That's dope. I got some tips for you. And everybody asks me this as relates to being married, right? And I know you kind of go through this. One thing you said in the book, I'm gonna go back to a page. He was like, not famous, but recognizable. I like that. That's dope. That's dope. You said that. And I'm going on 3 years, me and my wife, 8 years being together, 3 years married in September. She's gonna kill me if I said October. In September. And how was it being married now? And were you a little bashful when you met your wife now? A little different now, or what? How was it? Because I know you're Mike to us. You're Mike.
Right. Right.
So I don't know if she saw you as Mike. Like, that's Mike.
She had no idea who I was, man. It's crazy. I think maybe her, her ex probably watched me on television.
Man,
he's a sportsman. But you know, here's the thing, man.
yeah.
I'm cool with that, man. Like I said, I'm hardly famous. I'm a person that like I'm that guy that you see on television, but you don't know my
Yeah.
name, whatever. And I understand that. And that's cool for the people that
That's
do
cool.
recognize me and know my name from ESPN or Fox Sports or whatever I've done. I'm good with that, and I'm happy for that as well. But I've gotten to the point where, you know, like I said, you can't allow your ego to get in the way of progress. Because
Right.
if you allow your ego to get in the way of your progress, and your ego is part of what you need to have that ego, you need to have your ego stroke, then you're gonna have a disappointing life for the majority of things. If I had to go outside and I had to clamor and say, "Hey, Mike," and recognize me everywhere, and I did that every day, man, I'd be depressed. So I don't need that. You know, if it happens and you recognize me for a good reason, that's fine. But you know, sometimes I've actually come to like part of my anonymity when it comes to people not knowing, because then I can really feel like I'm being myself. I can go out and dress any kind of way I want to, and you know, somebody say I can cuss somebody out if I need. No, I won't cuss anybody out. But, you know, but no, but with her, man, it's like marriage is good, and I have a partner that's worth fighting for. You know what I'm saying? When I say that, and I know you've been married 3 years, and I'm a newlywed myself, a year and a half. You know, we have our good times. We have a lot of great times. Still my best friend in the world. But we do have our bad times. And I mentioned that. And sometimes these things get taken out of context when I said that. Right after our anniversary, I said something about we had an argument. I kid him like, "Oh, hope we make it to year 2." And the headlines. That's the problem sometimes of being in the relationship that we're in, is such a high profile relationship, because she's a celebrity, that certain things that I say in public or she says in public can be taken totally out of context, and people run and they put them in blogs and they just put the headlines up there and nobody actually reads what really went on. So that's something I've had to adjust to, and something that's been tough. But as far as the relationship is concerned, man, you know, once again, that's my baby, and I pray that we make it. I want us to make it. I'm fighting for us to make it, and she's doing the same thing. And as long as it's in God's hands and everybody's happy, we're going to be together. But if there's a time where we're not happy and God says that we should separate, then that's what we'll do as well.
No, you guys are gonna be good. You know what I tell everybody, Mike, about marriage, and part of my background for all my business stuff that I do. Got a chance to do this thing called dialectical behavior therapy. It's called DBT. But anyway, marriage is Tuesday, Wednesday, man. Everybody asks me how it is. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, right? Think about relationships in the past. You meet somebody, it's Friday, Saturday. I said, you can't live in Friday, Saturday. It's impossible. I said, your schedule, everything you do, Mike, there's nothing you look forward to on a Tuesday and Wednesday. Nothing. Don't do it. But when you get to Friday and Saturday, you enjoy it. And I tell everybody, get to Tuesday, Wednesday, you're good after that. And they was like, yo, that's deep.
That's
deep.
dope. That is so dope. Yeah, I mean, because you think about Monday's blah, Saturday, Sunday's a day of rest, Friday, Saturday's that fun day. Everybody loves that. Wednesday's a hump day, almost there. Thursday is like we're next to Friday. That's Friday Eve. So Tuesday, Wednesday still like that hump day. But nobody really celebrates Tuesday and Wednesday that much.
You want to get in Tuesday, Wednesday, right? Man. Like yesterday, my wife, she'll be home soon. We went to Taco Tuesday, right? We do it every Tuesday, right? And you know, hey, when our schedule frees up, we can go travel, do something. Hey, let's go. But you're right. People, we want to live in Friday, Saturday. And then when Tuesday, Wednesday come, oh, you change. No, I can't live in Friday. It's impossible.
You
right?
can't all the time. But you know, I will say, I'll tell you this. I will say this. People always say, and there's nothing like happiness, though. There's nothing like being peaceful and enjoying life. And Cynthia and I are older, so we've gone through a lot of things. So we know what we want, and we know what we don't want, right? And so we can discuss it. We're actually in counseling and therapy, you know, right now. And I believe in that individual therapy, you know, marital therapy or whatever, to discuss communicating with each other, because that's something that we're still focusing on. There are certain ways I like to be communicated to, and certain things I receive a certain way. There are certain things that she may say that I might not be able to receive because she either said it the wrong way, or maybe she didn't communicate it the way I'm used to hearing it, to understand it. You know what I mean? Or it might be something that be nonverbal communication that I'm just not picking up on, and vice versa. So I think all of that is part of the marriage. But at the same time, man, I also believe that, you know what, if you're peaceful, you enjoy life, you just love each other, you pray together, you're going to fight still. You still have to find the person who is worth fighting for. If you can do that, you can maintain a committed relationship for a long period of time. And when people say, oh, the honeymoon phase is over, why does the honeymoon phase have to ever be over? Tuesday and Wednesday, you can still, honeymoon phase is still Tuesday and Wednesday, right? But you can still have your Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So I'm gonna live in Tuesday and Wednesdays, but I'm still gonna enjoy my Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and my Sundays as well, and keep that honeymoon stage alive, because honeymoon stage is happiness, full of joy. So when you start saying, oh, the honeymoon stage is over, you're basically saying, hey, we just together. No, we are in our honeymoon stage, and 20 years from now, I still hope to be in my honeymoon stage.
That's dope. And I remember just reading I think that's called the forward part of the book. I think I got it right. When she, it's always great to have your wife support you. And it's important for us to support our wives as well too. And just the passage she wrote that you cannot call yourself a king if you don't feel worthy of the crown. Trade asking for the crown is better fit. Find your peace, my love. You should never be negotiable. That's dope for her to say that. That's dope. And shit like that. And even for men, to kind of go back to people talk about having that healthy space to communicate relationships, it's tough, right? Even my wife, I tell her that now. Like, I give you a quick story, Mike. Years ago, in college, I'm coming home, all that stuff, and I didn't even pledge yet. So my mom and sister were moving and transitioning to their new crib. About 2 weeks later, they were staying in my brother's crib. So it's full. And I'm dealing with a relationship that it's on his last leg, but she had her own apartment, yada, yada. And got into an argument, Mike, and she was like, you need me. You ain't got nowhere to go. And had somebody take something that was important to me, made me feel this big. And I remember sleeping at my best friend's house, because he just got his apartment, sleeping on dude's couch. And I understand like a trauma response to it, Mike. I didn't understand what it did to me later was, after that, I had worked like crazy. I had like 3 jobs, Mike. I was mentoring, doing basketball, working at a group home. Mike, I brought my first house before I graduated college, right? But the thing about it, now here's the downside to it. Every woman I dealt with after that, I wouldn't allow them to buy or do anything for me, because I was afraid they would use it against me. And I didn't know it, Mike, until almost when me deal with my wife. I didn't realize it. You know, even son, I have a son too. So even his mom, hey, I'll buy some for you. No, it's okay. Well, I'll buy you 2 things. Don't worry about it. Go out to eat with your friends. Oh, I'll pay for it. Nope, I'll pay for it. And hey, here's some money, go out to eat with your girls. I didn't want anybody doing nothing for me because I didn't know that was a trauma response. I was like, I'm afraid you're gonna use it against me. Right? So, you know what? Nah. So it took me till I met my wife to be like, you know what? It's okay to let you buy me some shoes. That's how bad it was, Mike. Like, it's okay. You can pay for dinner. It's okay. Right? So it's like, yo, but we all handle it different, man.
But you got past and you talked to your wife about that. And that's just part of growing. I believe, like, when you find somebody that you can trust to be able to share that you have been hurt in the past. See, that's a problem that us, especially black men, we won't admit that something hurt us. And it doesn't necessarily mean hurt us to the point that we cried and acted like a little, it's nothing like that. But something that trauma is hurt. Trauma is pain that was inflicted on you that you didn't even realize that it was pain, but it's still in you and it affects you later on in your life, right? So with you, that was, not allowing somebody to do anything for you or give you something because you think it's going to be used against you in the future. I'm the same way. Just like I wrote in the book, that's one of the reasons I could not fall in love, is because the first person I ever told I love, of that person's response to me and how it made me feel. So I could never really fall in love with anybody deeply because I couldn't trust them. I didn't trust them. And if I didn't trust them, how am I going to fall for you? Because when you fall, you trust that somebody's going to catch you, right? And I didn't think that anybody was ever going to catch me. So I always had something, a just in case of emergency on a standby. And usually a lot of that times with women or something like that, or some kind of, so but yeah, you're right. So but you work through that and you talk to your wife about that. And, hopefully you're at the point now where she can give you a massage without you feeling guilty and feeling like you got to give her a massage back.
Hey, Mike, I let her buy me some shoes like 2 weeks ago, but she got terrible taste in shoes. She got terrible taste. So I was like,
just give me a gift certificate. That's all. Just give me a gift card. I'll go get my own shoes. Let me figure them out myself. Now, I will say this. I will say this. I am the type of person where I'll be honest with you, something that Cynthia and I are going through right now is about when it comes to support and the way she wants to. I do a lot of things. I feel like I do a lot of stuff for her. I hate when somebody says, this is another trigger. And this is one of the things we're working through. I hope people work through it themselves. When somebody says, oh, you can't do that, I would do it for you. Or I've done it for you. You know what I mean? Like, I want to do it. Don't get me wrong. I will do it for you, but you ain't got to throw in my face about what you have done. And I used to do that to my kids too. I'm like, yo, you can't do this one. Well, all this stuff I do. Come on, man. Like, if the person is giving back what you're giving in the first place, I don't think that's necessary for you to say, I would do it for you. You know what I mean?
No, that's dope. That's dope. That's dope. Hey, I know you travel a lot, and I ain't gonna hold you too long, but hey, give me let's talk basketball before we wrap up, man. What do you think about these players, man? First of all, we're from Milwaukee. I'm in Milwaukee, right?
I know. I heard you say that earlier, man. I felt sorry for you. Y'all got one last year, and you still got years to come.
I feel, you know what, and I told everybody, I said, respect. I said, I didn't want us to go beat Miami or get to the finals and lose.
Right.
Because, you're not fully healthy. Right. So I'm, hey, we went 7 games. I'm like, I don't want Giannis getting tired. Now this is good. I said, we'll regroup next year. We'll go from there. Who did you like from the beginning? What did you see from the playoffs? And I got a couple of questions out there to just get your insight from a broadcaster standpoint. What do you think?
In the beginning, I don't want to lie. I thought the Suns were going to get to the finals again and actually win it all this year. And going into the playoffs, I actually felt like Boston was my dark horse to come out of the East because of just the way they're playing. I knew Tatum's going. I love Tatum. I love Jaylen Brown. I love the way they play defense. I love the way they've been playing at the tail end of the season too. And I kind of predicted Boston and Miami in the Eastern Conference, to be honest with you, in the finals. But I predicted Boston to be playing Phoenix in the NBA Finals. Now, having said that, I still believe Boston's the better team, but they got to get healthy. You know what I mean? Like,
got to be healthy.
Marcus Smart's got to play, and now with Horford in this situation, who knows? You know what I mean? So that COVID situation is still up in the air. So even though they're down 1, I still feel like they're the better team, and they'll come out of the East if those guys are able to come back. In the West, now that Phoenix is gone, I got to give it to Golden State, man. It's just like, I love Dallas. Oh God, Luka Doncic is my favorite player in the NBA. No, I know. I love Luka. I love Luka. Luka going to win several MVPs and several championships. I just don't think it's going to be this year. But so I'm going to go with Golden State and the Boston Celtics come out and play in the NBA Finals.
I hear you on that. As relates to, and all my guys, they always come to me. We always talk basketball. So it's great to talk basketball with a mind like yours. When it comes to like the Lakers, right? And where they're at right now. And I told everybody this. I said, late great Kobe Bryant, love him to death. LeBron is at that era where you remember the last couple of years of Kobe, where it's like, your 40 don't beat us no more. Your 10, 4th quarter kills us. What does LA do now? Because you're right, you don't want to. I'm not saying you build around a 38-year-old player, but I'm saying you don't build around a 38-year-old player. Like, what do you do? Because you got to remember, Mike, free agents don't come to LA. Shaq, LeBron, Kobe's homegrown. Just don't come the way they think it is, right? Yep. Everybody lives in LA. So what direction do you think they go? Like, I'm not saying you don't trade LeBron, obviously, but it's like, we can't build around you.
I mean, look, here's the thing, like, so when are you trying to win? So when you say build, you ain't going to build nothing around LeBron for years to come. So if you're trying to win next year, then you got to, and this is the big issue is health, man, for this team. Now they're old. They need some outside shooting. They need some young infusion point guard, somebody to kind of push the pace a little bit. Got to keep Anthony Davis healthy because Anthony Davis really was supposed to be the centerpiece. And LeBron was supposed to be the guy that's, swan song, doing his thing, continuing to do it, but it was going to be the 1-2 punch. So if Anthony Davis can't stay healthy and you can't trade him, what can you do? There ain't really much you can do. Once again, what are you going? You're going to trade LeBron and get what back? You know what I mean? So, and LeBron is still, but the dude is, if the Lakers would have won this year, won some games this year, and he would have played all 82 games or at least 75 games, LeBron would have been top 5 in the MVP once again this season, man. I mean, he's getting older, but his numbers are still astronomical. He's still playing great basketball. It's just that LeBron is not that player that he was in Cleveland in 2017? And to win a championship, to basically do it by, I know Kyrie was on that team with him and stuff like that, but to be that guy to carry a team like that. So what can the Lakers do is the question, not what should they do? What can they do? Because you got LeBron's going to be there. Anthony Davis he's got to be healthy. And I guess the only thing you can do is find a suitor and get rid of Russell Westbrook and bring somebody back in. I heard James Harden, get a motivated James Harden to come to LA, trade Russ, over there to Philly. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
It's always with those max contracts, the back end of them are so heavy.
Yep.
And this, I tell everybody, like, well, you trade to a team that needs salary cap relief. Nobody needs salary cap relief. But also nobody wants to pay a guy, not Russell, he's not a bad guy, but I got to pay you $48 million. That's a lot.
That's
against my cap. Against my cap.
Yep. For somebody on the downside of their career. I mean, but here's the thing, that's interesting because Russell and James Harden, two guys who former MVPs, former teammates, great players, Hall of Famers, as soon as they retire, whatever, what's a better fit for you? If you still got that cap number, right? You still, if you're Philly, you still got to pay James Harden that cap number, right? If you sign him and put him on there. If you're LA, you still got that cap number. So if you swap cap number, you swap players, is James Harden in LA a better fit for that squad? And is Russ, and I don't even know, because they got Maxey now, bro, Tyrese Maxey. And Russell can't play the two, you know what I mean, right now because he can't shoot. So if I'm Philly, I ain't making that deal. So forget what I just said.
No. It's fun you say that, man. Like, you saw Dame Lillard at the Portland lottery thing yesterday. And for them to have 7th pick, I'm confident, Mike, that Portland's going to do him a solid and say, hey, where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? Yeah.
I hope you say the Knicks.
We're going to do him like we're rebuilding. Maybe you call Philly for Tobias Harris and Maxey and maybe somebody else, and I think they can do that because I think Philly might. The max deal for Harden, I don't know if I go super max. Can we do 3-year deal? Yeah, we can go 3 years. I can't go 5 because 5, you've seen what happened with John Wall. You've seen what happened with Westbrook. The back end is too heavy and we got to deal with that. So,
the front end, I want to see who James Harden is. I want where's James? Because the last couple of years, when he was disgruntled in Houston, when he started becoming disgruntled in Houston that last year, that's when. But then when he had some good games with the Nets, right? When he's in shape, then he's disgruntled there, and he's out of shape, and he ain't the same player. I want to see a motivated James Harden in shape play a full season. I want to see who he is. So it's hard for me, like you said, to give him a max contract 5 years or whatever, because I don't know what I'm going to get on the first year of that contract. If I give him 5 years, it's guaranteed. Is he going to be motivated to play because he got his money or whatever? Does he want to win that championship? Does he want to win that chip? Does he want to prove to somebody something? I don't know. And that's only a question that somebody that James Harden is close to or himself will know the answer to.
That's a good one. That's a good one. My last one for you, and I'm going to let you go because I know you're very busy. Brooklyn Nets, even before Kyrie and all this stuff, right? My biggest basketball has always been a thing where the best player 9 times 10 equals leadership, right? Kind of in a sense. With KD and Kyrie, even with KD, tremendous talent. We're not going to deny that. But Mike, there's nothing that says leadership. Go back to OKC. There's nothing that says leadership, right? And I wonder if that's one of them things where, because remember in basketball, 9 times 10, your best player is your leader, right? For every team in a sense, outside of the Kawhi stuff. You take that from a guy that's super talented and say, hey man, like, I think the biggest thing they struggle with outside of Kyrie and the vaccine was like this leadership. How do you get a guy that it's too late to teach him how to be a leader or a better leader. But what is your take on that? Do you think that's kind of the problem? Brooklyn
Kyrie
probably,
or KD, or both of them?
yeah.
Both of
Oh,
them?
KD. I say KD. Kyrie, they're kind of stuck with Kyrie in the sense of, do they want to go max deal with him this summer?
Kyrie got to figure, first of all, for Kyrie, he got to figure out if he wants to play basketball, if he really wants to play basketball. Because there are times I look at Kyrie, I don't think he really wants to play basketball. Like, does he really want to play? Or he's so enthralled with everything else? And you can be, don't get me wrong, outside of the game, whatever, on your off time, man, go be political and do all that type, take a stand. I love when players do that, because I don't like it when it's just like shut up and dribble. I'm never going to be a part of that crowd, and anybody else will never be a part of my crowd if they act like that. So does Kyrie want to play basketball in that leadership role? He's not the leader of a basketball team, though, because he hasn't proven in any instance, even when he was in Cleveland with LeBron, that he could be a leader, because of even his whole thing, like, I want to be the man or whatever. Come on, man. You okay? Look, just hold your role, man. Like, Kobe, I understand Kobe wanted to be the man in LA, but there is a way, but he had an excuse for Shaq because Shaq wasn't in shape. So he wanted just Shaq to be just as hungry as he was. You know what I'm saying? So that's the deep difference with Kyrie. It was almost like it was a jealousy thing. For KD, man, the problem with KD is great basketball player, maybe the greatest basketball player when he's healthy on the face of the earth. KD cares too much. And when I say he cares too much, he cares that if somebody's not calling him the greatest basketball player, he's got to argue with them. The fact you get burner accounts, the fact that you know what people are saying about you. When Kaylee gets that IDGAF attitude, you know what that stands for. I don't, when he gets that attitude, KD will be a beast. LeBron had that same problem, if you think back years ago. LeBron was so concerned about what people were saying and affecting him. When LeBron finally got to Miami and he shut down his social media during the postseason, remember he started doing that? And LeBron didn't care anymore, stopped reading the newspaper clippings. LeBron became a champion. KD is already a champion. Don't get me wrong, but he had a great team in Golden State to help him overcome some of that stuff, and the focus wasn't on him. In New York, especially with that type of media, you have got to have a I don't give a what attitude to fans, to the calling out pundits like Stephen A. Smith or Nick Wright. You ain't got time for that, man. Let them talk about what you got to do. Just you go out there and you play basketball and you do your thing, and don't worry about what the haters got to say. You know how great you are. The world knows how great you are. Let your play speak for yourself, and then you'll be a better leader that way, and other people will want to follow you because your teammates looking at you like, what he care about this person saying over here, instead of being focused for 48 minutes on the basketball court every night. Come on, man.
No, I got you. Mike, hey, it's a pleasure. I will definitely email you, later on today. I want to bring you to my I'm putting together our scholarship banquet for my nonprofit for high school seniors. So I may have to hit your people up to say, hey, get you to come to the city, figure out what we got to do for you. But also the book, I want to make sure that everybody talks about this. I can't wait to post this.
Thanks, man.
So everybody, not to mention my wife Danielle tells you and Cynthia hello as well too. So she'll be home and running my case like she normally do. So you know what I learned, Mike, about marriage? I got through a lot of arguments. Just change the subject. Where you want to go to dinner at?
There you go.
Where you want
Take a deep breath, man. Take a deep breath, count to 10. Think about that while she come. Just accept you ain't gonna win, bro. You ain't gonna win. That's the best way. And I gotta learn that myself. Take a deep breath and I'm getting fired up, but I'm not gonna let keep your joy, boy. I'm telling you, you keep your joy. A happy life is a happy wife. I'm gonna tell you right now. Seriously.
I got you. Hey, my brother, anything you need from me and my people here, we got your back, man. But I'm gonna make sure everybody get this book too. And make sure when they get it, post it on our Instagram. I'm gonna tell everybody, post it on your IG. Let Mike know we supporting him. We rocking with him, man. So we got you.
I'm gonna send you my address for them colas in the background too, bro.
Yeah. This right here is the root beer one right here. I don't know if you can see it pretty good. Got you that. We got everything: strawberry, root beer, strawberry, grape, lemon, lime, orange, cream soda. So I'm gonna load you up, man. You enjoy it, man.
I got a
Enjoy
college
it.
student too, man. So I'm gonna definitely
Oh yeah,
set something up for sure.
got you. Give me to me. I got you. I got you. Hey, take it easy. Enjoy the family. Tell them everybody say hello, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Lance. Appreciate you, brother.
Yep.
Yeah.